Hello and welcome to another year, fourth consecutive year actually, of 15 Days of Breakaway Roping. I am your host, Jordan Jo Hollabaugh, and I am so excited to bring you our fourth consecutive 15 Days of Breakaway. I keep saying it, I just pinch myself. I love this time of year. It's a little better than Christmas for me because we get to talk about breakaway roping all day long for 15 straight days. Kind of a big deal. And, I'm just so excited. Over the past 3 years of doing this, we've had over 75,000 people listen to this specific series. So I just want to say a huge shout out to all of our listeners out there. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for helping In the Loop podcast grow. This year is going to be great. I think probably the greatest year ever. Absolutely. We have some really cool things coming down the pike. And I just want to say a huge shout out to our partners this year because I absolutely could not do this without them. This series of 15 Days of Breakaway 2024 is brought to you by Wrangler. Wrangler butts drive you nuts. And we also have other partners such as Patterson Garage and Trailer Repair in Springtown, Texas, Rattler Ropes, Pro Fantasy Rodeo. Go get that breakaway team, y'all. WRWC, the Women's Rodeo World Championships. We've got some really cool questions coming, Fancy's Burning Questions. And Rodeo Now. Upload all of your rodeo videos and have them in one place. I'm excited to be a part of this year's 15 Days of Breakaway. It's really special to me. So thank you guys again for listening. If you have any questions for me, or if you would like to give us any input, I would love to know what you think about these breakaway roping series episodes. And if you have any breakaway roping questions, period, email me at jordan@inthelooppodcast.co. And I will get back to you and answer all of your questions. Make sure you share these episodes with all of your friends. We appreciate your guys' support and helping In the Loop podcast grow. So with no further avail, let's get to it. 15 Days of Breakaway 2024. Here we come. Okay, guys, welcome to our fourth annual 15 Days of Breakaway. I am your host, Jordan Jo Hollabaugh, and we're starting out today with number 1 on the 15 Days of Breakaway, and that is number 15, which is myself. So I have turned over the interview to my husband, Raymond Hollabaugh. I'm a little nervous about this, but I think it'll be good in the end. So, Raymond, I will let you take over. Thank you for being the host today.
Well, thank you, Jordan. Glad you could join your own podcast. Let's start out talking a little bit. You've made your second qualification to the National Finals Breakaway. Let's talk rodeo a little bit. What do you think has changed from year 1 to now of the breakaway?
Well, year 1 that we did it, I think there was like 40 rodeos total. I think we went to 16 rodeos, and I had 30-some thousand coming into the NFR that year. We got to rope at Globe Life in the actual same arena that the guys did. So that was pretty cool. Fast forward 2024, we're getting to go to the South Point in Las Vegas, and we're getting roped for a little bit more money this year. So that's exciting. The biggest thing that's changed is when this started, there was I felt like a small group of women that competed all over the world, no matter whether it was a jackpot, rodeo, amateur, anything, that went to everywhere. And now there are over, 500, 600, 700, I don't know how many members, but they're all very competitive women in the sport of rodeo. And I feel like anywhere we've been all year long, there's girls that have great horses that rope outstanding. And it's a tough competition every time you back in the box. And that wasn't the case when we first made it.
No, I totally agree. And getting to watch most of this, your event is so tough. Girls have just, I'm not sure what the right word is, but they have really perfected their skills. And there's girls that I had never seen or heard of that can be 1 or 2 flat at any given time. And that's great to have in y'all's event. Your rodeos, we're still trying to get your finals a little better, but they're getting better. But the rodeos during the year, you can't hardly beat.
Yeah.
The committees, everybody that's gone out of their way to do this because they want y'all there. I think it's great.
Well, and I think too, it's just knowing the first year that we did it, the rodeos that stepped out and welcomed us with open arms. And it's just been really exciting to know that not only has almost every rodeo that has PRCA involvement is having breakaway, that they're stepping up with equal added money for us. And that is huge for me. I mean, I dreamed of making the NFR and the team roping. And so knowing that we get to make the NFR and the breakaway roping, but we get to compete against the guys we've looked up to and the ladies we've looked up to our whole life. It's pretty cool.
Well, I think it's great about it. There's several girls in the breakaway that have over 100,000 won. Mm-hmm. That's a huge change. It's a great thing because you can make a living breakaway roping, now. And that's just going to keep growing, keep getting bigger. Y'all got equal money at a lot of places now. That's even going to get better through the years. So, it's really tough, but it's a great sport. A lot of numbers coming, and so it's really good for the sport of rodeo, I think.
Well, and you've kind of been through where we're at this year, talk about you. I'm going to ask you a question. You've made it to the NFR 7 times. When you first made it, what were you guys running at round wise? Like, what did it pay for every round, the average?
I think the first year I made it, the rounds paid $4,500, and what do they pay now? Almost 30, and so it's grown so much and it's going to continue to grow. And you look at all the guys, it's got over 200,000 won in every event. That's a lot better than having a job, in my opinion.
Well, and I think too, I've listened to you talk about rodeo, and it didn't matter what you were roping for. You absolutely loved what you did. And it seems like the last year you made it, I think the rounds were paying almost a little over 20,000. So within that short amount of time that you rodeoed and made the NFR in those 7 times, it went up increasingly. So I guess for me, that's what I keep hoping and looking forward to. Very appreciative of everybody that's dang sure stuck their neck out and given us a chance, but also excited where it's going to go.
Well, that's going to happen. Just give it a chance. It's grown so much. And so, well, I've got some questions here I'd like to ask you, and I'm going to try my best not to answer them for you.
Thanks.
Being I got to see most of this, but if you are
Can I phone a friend?
Lying or not telling the truth, I will comment on this. So it's let's talk a little bit about your horses. We've had a little horse problems last month. Your mares got sick after San Angelo, and let's talk a little bit about your horses, kind of what your plans are, going into this.
So, we rode Cookie, which is the mare that I rode in most of the buildings this year. She's the one who got sick, and she got pneumonia. The crew at Outlaw Equine has kept her alive in our prayers. And so she's going to pull through, we think, and she's going to make it, but we won't be riding her at the NFR this year. So we also had Frankie out there all year long and rode him at some of the outdoor buildings. He's a horse that we got from some family friends in New Mexico a couple years ago. And I never really thought he would step in and fill this role, but he dang sure has. And he's a proven winner, and he draws really good. So, and we also have a little bay horse we rode a couple years ago called Leonard that we'll probably have out there. And you never know. We've got a couple young ones over here. We might load up and haul over there too, but probably the game plan this year is going to be show up on Frankie and rope 10 calves and see where it happens.
Okay. Being you brought that up, what do you have a game plan going into these finals?
I mean, I think I have a game plan always, because you always tell me not to make a plan, but I love making plans.
It's a problem. It
is a problem. You tell me not to think. I mean, at the end of the day, I've decided I'm going to back up. I'm going to see my start. I'm going to rope my calves. That's my game plan. No matter where I'm going, we talk about that all the time. You try to emphasize that. You're probably sick of telling me, but anymore, I think used to, the first NFR we made it, we won the average there. And they didn't give an average buckle for that average that year, but even we roped 12 calves that year, and I roped all 12 calves. And so, but I didn't go in there trying to win the average. I just showed up to rope. And so that's what I'm going to do again. I'm just going to show up and rope. And anymore, the girls that we rope against, the competition, the horses, the ladies, the setups, you always tell me it doesn't matter. It's the same every time, whether you're open 1 or 10. So that's what I'm going to try to do.
Well, I think that's the way you have to do your event anymore, because missing the barrier, running through throws, this day and time, 4 flats about the same thing as no time, and that's just the way that girls are going to rope this. And so I think that's a good plan. And so the women's rodeo, World Championships have got 10 questions that they want to ask you. And we're going to start with number 1. Who is your favorite traveling partner?
Well, I don't want to say it here, but Junior. No, I'm just kidding. You are.
That's a good answer. Okay, your favorite meal to eat on the road?
Sadly, you've converted me, and I'm going to have to say Golden Corral because we do stop a lot and eat at Golden Corral. And although I was repelled at the thought of this at first, it does have a really good buffet, and you can get a lot of food for pretty cheap on the road.
You didn't mention how much you like the desserts.
I haven't been eating the desserts.
Oh,
Raymond, you eat the desserts, but I will have to say Golden Corral.
Okay. What is your last Google search?
Let me look. It was the PRCA Playoff Tour 2025, which they don't have updated yet.
Okay. What was your last impulse buy? Oh, Lord, this could be good.
Probably baby powder. I like to buy in bulk.
Mm-hmm. Best rodeo prank you've ever done?
I don't know if we should talk about that on the podcast. It wasn't at a rodeo. I guess I pulled several pranks on you. Yes. Probably.
I remember.
Probably pretending like I was somebody else on a text message and you didn't know the number and telling you a story.
It was wrong. I remember well. So
that was when I was younger. Okay.
If your horse could talk, what would they say to you? Lord, everybody listen up.
Would say nod. Let go of my head. Get out of my way. I don't know. Probably not. I mean, I guess I'd have kind of started camping out in the box a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a good answer?
Yeah, that's good.
What do you think my horse would say if they could talk?
I'm not going to comment on that. And your favorite summer rodeo?
Cheyenne.
And why?
Well, I had a lot of success at Cheyenne, and I just love that rodeo. It's, you've won it also, and I think we've had a lot of success there, but it's fun, and there's a lot of history, and I don't know, it just has an electric atmosphere every time I've been there, no matter how many times I've roped in that arena. It lights your fire, and it's a fun time of the year.
Yeah, I agree. It was mine too. You don't ever know what's going to happen, and just it's fun. Okay, guys. So one thing that I have learned as I have rodeoed and traveled millions of miles is that we all need that one great trailer guy. And I have found that with my friends Dickie and Jordan at Patterson Garage in Springtown, Texas. With years of experience, Patterson Garage and Trailer is locally owned and led by Dickie Patterson, who does the automotive side, and Jordan Evans, who does the trailer repairs. They can fix anything and everything from RVs, trailers, vehicles, brakes, wiring, trailer conversions, generator repair. We all need that. AC repair, suspension, brakes, you name it, they can do it. And one thing I love is that every time I call down there, day or night, Jordan is always there to help me. Dickie has been able to fix anything and everything we need on this truck. So when you have that need and you need to get your trailer in and get it fixed, take it to Springtown, Texas, to Patterson Garage and Trailer Repair. Call Jordan at 817-220-1242. You can find them on their website, pattersongarageandtrailer.com. They're on social media. Google search them, y'all. They're everywhere. All of your trusted repair solutions for all of your trailer needs. Call Patterson Garage and Trailer Repair. Mm-hmm. Favorite brand of jeans?
Obviously Wrangler, because Wrangler butts drive me nuts.
Oh, okay. What skill are you proud of?
I feel like I can accomplish a lot of different things. So I don't know, organizational skills.
I agree. You're really organized, and when you set out to do something, you do it. I completely agree. What is your favorite rodeo to nominate?
I'm going to have to say Cheyenne again, because if you nominate at the beginning of Cheyenne, you get to carry all of your points, and every time you win, you can get up to 6 different options to win points and money from one nomination. And I think that's kind of my game plan when I nominate is $1 or how much we can do that, and then see how many points you can get under one nomination. So now, Raymond, you forgot to mention that because I've answered these 10 questions, I'm going to get 100 VRQ bucks to nominate at the WRWC.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, free.
Yeah, that's
because
really,
I've answered these humiliating questions for you.
That's really good.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate everybody at the WRWC, Women's Rodeo World Championships. It's a little bit of a tongue tire, but they come on. They're doing a question segment this year, so everybody gets to answer all these questions. So it'll be super fun.
What is your favorite memory inside and outside of the arena this year?
This is going to be hard, but so I was having a little bit of heck until the end of I did really good over the 4th of July, kind of chipped away all summer. And then it got to a point where like Northwest time, I roped good, but I just didn't win anything. And so when we went home, the first, I was just really, really excited to be home. You've been out there for 4 months and whatnot, but we made a special trip and stopped in Abilene. And Abilene, Texas was the first rodeo at home. And before we stopped there, we stopped and saw your mom and dad. And I ended up winning second at Abilene and winning that rodeo, or winning second at that rodeo. Made a really good run, was too flat. Got back on my mare, made a really good run. But so that was my favorite rodeo memory inside the arena. But then outside of the arena was special for me too, because that was one of the last times that I got to see your dad. And he just told me before I walked out of there, he said, just go beat him. And that's something that every time I backed in the box this year, since then, I'm just thought, just go beat him. So that was special for me. So I'm going to ask you, Raymond, what was your favorite memory this year inside of the arena and outside of the arena? Don't say Phillipsburg.
No, that would be my worst. I'm not really sure which my favorite memory was. Maybe
Jasper, Alabama.
No, it wasn't that either. I think my answer is San Antonio this winter. We had a good rodeo there. I like that rodeo. I think that committee does a great job, there. And I like that rodeo.
What about outside of the arena?
My worst memory.
So you're turning it to your worst, not your favorite memory?
No, the favorite one was San Antonio.
Oh.
My worst memory was Phillipsburg, Kansas. In my 25 years of rodeoing, it's a good rodeo, but I haven't ever liked that place. But we had a very good hailstorm. Broke the mirror out of my truck. People are running around in the parking lot in their pajamas trying to load stuff. Everything's blowing away. It was a bad night over there.
Continue on with your story, because it really didn't affect you like it did me.
Well, it didn't affect me so much because I was taking a nap when she wakes me up telling me we're in a storm, and she thinks that we need to get out of there with the wind blowing 80 miles an hour and it's hailing. And so she grabs Junior, the dog, opens the door. It sucks her and Junior, the dog, out that door. And I thought to myself, I really like that dog because I thought they were gone, And so she gets to the truck. She's soaking wet, but she leaves the door of this trailer open. So it's raining inside this trailer.
Well, bless your heart that you got
just
wet.
Just like it was outside. Well, by the time I get out, I'm already soaked. Well, I go to shut the door, and the wind's blowing so hard I can't hardly get the door shut. It was just a bad night. Really bad night.
I think I placed at that rodeo.
Well, I would hope so after everything we went through.
Well, my version was a little bit different because I loaded the horses while you were taking a nap, and I got everything ready while you were dry. And then Junior and I got sucked out of there like Toto and thought we were going to get sucked up in the tornado. And then you got wet barely. I literally looked like I took a shower.
Explained, I was taking a nap. When people do that, they're asleep and you don't always know what's going on.
Right.
And so by the time I come to consciousness, it was this stuff had already happened.
It's all about the priorities, Raymond.
Exactly. I needed a nap.
You needed to rest.
Yes.
Because you were competing.
I was driving.
Oh, well, that is true.
Yes.
So what did you think about this year, Raymond?
Lord, I thought it was a lot better, but there was a lot of rodeos and lots of driving. And
we went to 93 official rodeos.
Yeah, I know. It's, but I'm a rodeo fan. I love the sport. I love to get to watch you do it. I'm glad I'm there. I've got to be leading the world in driving in miles. I just don't know.
You probably are. I mean, it might be a closer race between you and Jimmy Tanner.
Yeah, it might be.
We should keep track next year.
I go faster than Jimmy.
Oh.
He drags it out a little bit. Who do you look up to and why?
I would say I'm going to answer that twice. Two people. One, I look up to you because you didn't know anything about rodeo and you taught yourself everything that you knew. You found help. You did whatever it took to find a way to win. You even put your calf and your horse in the same pen when you were growing up, which was
didn't know the difference.
Terrible idea. Surprised he didn't get his tail eaten off.
He didn't.
Lord. But there's nothing that stops you. And I think that that's been a huge motivator for me to get to do this when we rodeo is, there's just no limits. Nothing stops you. You figure out, you do it. And so you're one I look up to. Second, I look up to, I would say Casey Field because he's just a winner. And he's somebody that I feel like whether he scores a 90-point ride or he gets bucked off, he's smiling. And he's somebody as a competitor you want to see win. And I want to be a competitor like that. I think that that's pretty neat, no matter if you're a fan, a spectator, a fellow competitor, I'm in the Breakaway Open. Like, I want to see that guy win. And I think that he stands for himself as a competitor. So I look up to him for that.
Well, that's a good answer because, your attitude it shows through everybody. So if you've got a bad attitude about this, there's always going to be something you can find bad. Mm-hmm. But your attitude is what can change the bad from the good because it's not always going to be good. It's going to be trying times for everybody. And so, I think that's one thing I learned through the years. You can either be mad and let it snowball, or you can work on that attitude and be glad you get to do this and go from day to day. And that's one thing I think I've seen you really work on, the last year or so. And I'm proud of you for doing that because it makes a difference.
Yeah. So not only do we have friends at the Women's Rodeo World Championships, but we also have some friends at Pro Fantasy Rodeo. And Pro Fantasy Gail and Casey Jones have always been a huge part of everything we do. I mean, I still have my 2020 Pro Fantasy cap that they gave the Breakaway Ropers. So Raymond, I mean, I know you're a risk taker. Have you ever played the Pro Fantasy Rodeo game?
I wish I could say I hadn't, but yes, I do.
And have you had any success?
No, I haven't yet. I think Casey changes the rules on me after I fill my deal out.
So you're blaming your failure on Casey?
It probably wasn't his fault. Maybe I did some bad picking or they did some bad riding and roping. I don't know. And it could go either way.
So this year, you can buy your breakaway team. You get to pick 5 girls, and it's a $24 team buy-in. Are you going to play the breakaway game this year?
I'm sure I will.
Yes.
No.
And are you going to pick me?
I'm sure I will. If I want to eat.
I do cook good hamburger.
Yes,
just
you do.
Keep that in mind. Well, and I think that that's something, we've talked to all the top 15 this year. Their families play Pro Fantasy Breakaway, and they do all sorts of fun things. So it's really neat to me how Gail and Casey have included us as breakaway ropers, but not only that they continue to put fun in breakaway roping. Last year Shane Fry won $10,000 because he actually did have success. Number 1.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So maybe you should call a bulldogger and ask
Maybe
him
I should.
what his tactics were.
Maybe I should.
But we appreciate our friends at Pro Fantasy Rodeo. You can get your team up to the day the breakaway starts at the National Finals Rodeo for $24. So make sure you go and buy your team. We are excited to have them as part of our show, and we appreciate them. So, Raymond, also, we have a fan question this year, and you get to ask me the fan question. We let our fans submit one question for every roper. We went through and we picked them. So, take it away.
The fan question is, I've noticed your horse comes into you. Is this on purpose? If so, how do you get her to do that and why?
So my horse comes into me because of you.
Yes.
Yes. So I'll let you explain that, Raymond.
Well, the reason she comes into her is because I have this
say it
terrible
correctly.
hatred of a horse ducking, no matter whether she's riding it or I'm riding it. Well, we kind of had that problem going on, ducking to the left and sometimes wanting to run by the calf on the left side. So I put a knot rope on her and solved that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran it down the left side on several different calves and several different occasions.
Mm-hmm.
And she won't do it during your throw. It's just during the stop. But it also helped in a way because sometimes she does get into that rope and break it loose. And I'm not saying it'll work on everybody's horse, but it did on this one.
Well, she also holds a grudge too. And I think that, in fact, when you did put that on her, you really hacked her off.
Well, that was the point.
Yes.
Because I was hacked off at what she was doing. And so I'm not saying some of it or 99% of it was pilot era, but we really haven't had that problem since.
No, she did not forget when you did it. And now it's become a habit, which is a good habit because it does break it off faster.
Yes.
But I think it was a hap since, we've had so many people ask us how we've gotten that done. And I don't know if I would try that at home. It can be dangerous.
Everything's dangerous. Don't be afraid to try.
Call Raymond if you would like to try it and he can walk you through those steps. We also get to talk a little bit about what kind of ropes that we use.
Another question I wanted to ask you is what kind of ropes you use and why do you use this brand of rope?
So this year I have started using the Viper from Rattler. And actually I started, I guess, a year and a half ago in August using those ropes. And when you first started me breakaway roping when I was 23 and had a meltdown and told you that I wanted to learn how to be a breakaway roper, I used to team rope all the time, and you put a Viper in my hand, and it's a 5-strand, and it always just felt like it had really good tip weight and it was fast to me. And so I got away from using that for a little while, and then I got back to it the last year or so, and that rope it has a lot of tip weight. I feel it fits in my hand. It's fast, and it just is very consistent. And that's something that I feel when you show up, no matter whether it's hot, cold, dry, windy, humid, whatever, that rope feels really consistent wherever we're at. So that gives me confidence.
No, I completely agree. Most girls are probably using that rope now. A lot of guys are using that rope. They hold up really good. They've got body, and like you said, they've got a lot of tip weight. They're just they're the best rope on the market, I think, right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to say.
That is a first that you don't know what else to say. Well, thank you for taking the time to do my interview this year for 15 Days of Breakaway. We appreciate everybody who has sponsored this and made this happen. You guys stay tuned. We're coming up with the next 14 girls. Let us know if you have any questions and or feedback. You can always contact me at jordan@intheloop.podcast.co. So thank you guys, and we will catch you down the road.